Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarne Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Ti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Dayataya Kripabdhaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Madhuryojvala Premardhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murteye Dinatarne Rupanuga Viruddha Pasidhanta Dhvanta Harne Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Shreshtham Manamapi Shatchiputramatra Swarupam Rupam Tasyagrajam Urupuring Maturim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaramaho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Ataf Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagarna Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitangscha Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Sri Caitanya-caritamrta of Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Madhya Lila, chapter 10, text number 113. Bhakti Siddhanta Viruddha Ar Rasa Abhasa Shunite Na Hoy Prabhur Chitter Ulash Bhakti Siddhanta Viruddha Arashabash Shunite na hoy Prabhur Chitter Ulash Bhakti Siddhanta Viruddha Arashabhash Shunite na hoy Prabhur Chitter Ulash Bhakti Siddhanta Viruddha Arashabhash Shunite na hoy Prabhur chiter ulash.
Bhaktisiddhanta Viruddha Arasabhas.
Bhaktisiddhanta Viruddha Arasabhas.
Shunite na hoy Prabhur chiter ulash.
Shunite na hoy Prabhur chiter ulash. Bhaktisiddhanta Viruddha Arasabhas. Shunite na hoy Prabhur chiter ulash. Anyone else? Bhaktisiddhanta Viruddha Arasabhas. Shunite na hoy Prabhur chiter ulash. Bhaktisiddhanta Viruddha Arasabhas. Shunite na hoy Prabhur chiter ulash. Ladies. Bhaktisiddhanta Viruddha Arasabhas. Shunite na hoy Prabhur chiter ulash. Bhakti Siddhanta. Conclusive statements about the science of devotional service.
Conclusive statements about the science of devotional service.
Viruddha, opposing. Ar, and. Rasa, abhasa, overlapping of transcendental mellows. Shunite, to hear. Na, not. Hoy, becomes. Prabhur, of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chitter, of the heart. Ulasha, jubilation. I'll just write something. Translation. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was never pleased to hear books or verses opposed to the conclusive statements of devotional service. The Lord did not like hearing rasabhas, the overlapping of transcendental mellows. Purport. Bhakti Siddhanta Viruddha refers to that which is against the principle of unity in diversity, philosophically known as achintya bheda bheda, simultaneous oneness and difference, whereas rasabhas is something that may appear to be a transcendental mellow, but actually is not. Those who are pure Vaishnavas should avoid both these things opposed to devotional service. These misconceptions practically parallel the Mayavada philosophy. If one indulges in Mayavad philosophy, he gradually falls down from the platform of devotional service. By overlapping mellows, rasabhasa, one eventually becomes a prakrita sahajya and takes everything to be very easy. One may also become a member of the bowel community and gradually become attracted to material activities. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore advised us to avoid Bhaktisiddhanta Viruddha and Rasabhas. In this way, the devotees can remain pure and free from fall-downs. Everyone should try to remain aloof from Bhaktisiddhanta Viruddha and Rasabhas. Now, this verse mentions Bhakti Siddhanta, so it's very suitable for reciting on this day when we remember the departure from this world of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Of course, here the term Bhakti Siddhanta is literally referring to what Srila Prabhupada translates as conclusive statements of devotional service. Whereas Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, that's a title that he holds, meaning that he is the very personification of the conclusive statements of devotional service. It is not possible that anything could come from his lips which is not, or which is Bhaktisiddhanta Viruddha, which is opposing the conclusive statements of devotional service. So today we are celebrating his disappearance day. It's our Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada would sometimes refer to Srila Prabhupada. If you do this, Srila Prabhupada will be very pleased. Not referring to himself in the third person, referring to who he worshipped as Srila Prabhupada, and should be worshipped. Because he is Sakshad Hari. He is, according to the statement of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, directly Hari. But there's a difference also. Kintu Prabha, yeah, Priya Eva. But he's also certainly very dear to the Lord, which suggests different oneness and difference. He's also Hari in the sense we address him in the pranam mantra to himself, or one of the pranam mantras to himself, that he is Hari in the sense that Rupanuga Viruddha Apasiddhanta Dvanta Hari. He is the one who takes away the darkness of the Shri Rupanuga Viruddha Apasiddhanta. He takes away the darkness of the wrong conclusions of devotional service, which oppose the proper understanding of bhakti as given by Rupa Goswami, especially as given by Rupa Goswami. He's Rupanuga, Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida. He is the giver of bhakti, which is received in the line of the acharyas coming from Rupa Goswami. He was a real Rupanuga, real follower of Rupa Goswami, but this name Rupanuga or term of praise, Rupanuga viruddha apasiddhanta dvanta hari. That means that one of the salient features of his personality and his pastimes was opposing those who opposed the proper conclusions of Rupa Goswami, which means that he opposed persons who were not properly followers of Rupa Goswami, but who considered themselves to be. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he considered this appellation, Rupanuga, to be the highest compliment. To call someone Rupanuga, that is the highest compliment and the highest aspiration. It is the highest possible position. Even more than, in one sense we shouldn't say, but in another sense we have to say it, because that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give, which no one else had given. Anarpita chirin chirat kurunyavatirno kalau samapiyatum unutujvala rasang svabhakti shriyam. This accolade to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, given in the form of a blessing by Rupa Goswami, he praises Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he gave something which others had not given and was not given in a very long time. The topmost resplendent, radiant mellow of pure devotional service to himself. Rupa Goswami gave that benediction. The Sada Hridaya Kandare Spuritu Va Sachinandana. May that Sachinandana be manifest in the core of your heart. And sometimes Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would change the Va to Na. May he, that changes the whole prayer, or it changes it from a benediction, from a blessing to a prayer. May that Satchinandana be manifested within our hearts. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he considered this title Rupanuga to be the most sacred, most worshipable. His own spiritual father, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, is worshipped as Rupanugavara, the best of the Rupanugas, followers of Rupa Goswami. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is nothing less. How can we, from our very tiny position, how can we even think who is greater, who is lesser? They're so elevated, so exalted, acharyas. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur took as a major part of his service to Rupa Goswami to decry those who were living or propagating Rupanuga viruddha apasiddhanta, those who are not living according to the proper understanding of what it means to follow Rupa Goswami. Some of the people who he decried, they decried him also. he would say, you're not following Rupa Goswami properly. Say, no, you're not following Rupa Goswami properly. The Babajis living in Vrindavan. You see, we're living in Vrindavan, as Rupa Goswami gave as one of the 5 main activities of devotional service in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mathura Vas, residing in the Mandal, in the region of Mathura. We dress like him. We follow all the rules that he says. We're renounced like him. We live very simply. And who are you? You're coming in a car. Not even to have a car in those days was something very special. But to have even today to have a Jaguar car, that's something really. There's only one higher, which is Rolls Royce. But he came in a Jaguar car to Vrindavan, dressed in Western style coat and sewn clothes and all these things which the Babajis were scandalized by all of this. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he showed this is following Rupa Goswami, not by imitation, but by fulfilling his mission. In this regard, I will now read a statement that Srila Prabhupada made in March 1972 in a Srimad Bhagavatam lecture in Calcutta. Srila Prabhupada said, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Goswami followed strictly Rupa Goswami. Just like Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Goswami introduced that a sannyasi should go for begging alms in a motor car. Only the very richest people in India at that time could afford a motor car, or actually anywhere in the world. Because I believe the Ford revolution of giving motor cars to the common man, when did that start? Anyone know history? In the 40s, so late? Yeah. So only the richest people could afford a motor car. So he would send his sannyasis out to beg alms. It's something like if Mr. Birla or one of the Mr. Birlas came asking, please give a donation. It's ridiculous. It might seem like that. Of course, they wouldn't go out for begging the daily rice, but they'd go out to meet kings and several of the big, rich Maharajas. They gave substantial donations. Maharaj of Jaipur in that's now in Orissa. He gave substantially for the Madras temple. So Prabhupada said, sannyasis should go for begging alms in a motor car. In a motor car. They should live in palatial buildings. Now if in this age we follow that Rupanuga, Srila Rupa Goswami used to live underneath a tree, and if we say, now we shall also imitate. Srila Prabhupada himself was asked, why are you building a big opulent temple in Vrindavan with luxury facilities? At that time in Vrindavan, the guest house that Srila Prabhupada built was unprecedented, and there was no such thing. It was the most luxurious thing in the whole of Vrindavan. It's been surpassed by maybe hundreds of different buildings. The most luxurious building apart from temples. For living quarters, there was no such nice thing. There are a few dharmshalas here and there, mostly quite old. So Srila Prabhupada is asked, why are you building such a fancy temple and all? When Rupa Goswami you're supposed to be a follower of Rupa Goswami, he was living under a tree every night, and Srila Prabhupada said, I can also live under a tree every night, but then you wouldn't come to hear me because you'd think I'm just another of these indigent Babajis who, as Srila Prabhupada said, one of their motives in coming to Vrindavan is to solve the chapati problem. I need 15 chapatis a day, or maybe not so many. How do I get it? Well, I can go to Vrindavan and do madhu curry. I'll get chapatis given. So Srila Prabhupada said, I'm not building this for me, I'm building it for you, for people like you. You won't give any importance to me unless you think, because I'm filling in here now. Prabhupada didn't say all these things, but it's what was hinted at by Srila, or indicated by Srila Prabhupada, that he knew from his previous experience, before he went to the West, he was preaching in India, his same message, and no one took him seriously. Not very seriously, anyway. When he came back with Western devotees, then people started to take him seriously. But then he also told the Western devotees, it's not enough just for you to be here and sing and dance. You have to do something substantial. Srila Prabhupada, very soon after establishing his mission in India, he had plans to build major temples in Vrindavan, Mayapur, and Mumbai. And in Mayapur, not just a major temple, a whole city of Krishna consciousness, because he wanted to establish the Krishna conscious movement that he was propagating. He wanted to establish that on a solid basis. And we may say, well, buildings aren't a solid basis. They're solid in the physical sense, but buildings themselves are not. They're not synonymous with Krishna consciousness, but he wanted to establish institutions where people could come and be trained. He specifically said that about the centers. Well, specifically about the centers in Vrindavan. Yeah, these 3 centers where people from all over the world could come and be trained in Krishna consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada, he also knew that the fascination or the thrill of seeing Westerners chanting Hare Krishna, that won't last very long. But if there are big buildings, materialistic people take big buildings very seriously. They think if it's a big building, it must be something important, because only rich people can have that. So that's their materialistic consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada, he learned this from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who made buildings. And another point of that was to give facilities for preachers of Krishna consciousness to live, so that they could remain healthy and well-nourished, so that they could preach Krishna consciousness. Some arrangement was needed for that. So for these reasons, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he built facilities, buildings for his renounced followers to live in. And he was criticized by followers of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur had criticized those. He said that Vaishnavas should not live in mutts. It's right there in Bhaktivinoda's teachings, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati established that. So he was criticized for so many things that seemed to go against the teachings of the Shastra and the Acharyas, just like sannyasam pala paitrikam kalo pancha vivarjayat ashvamedam gavalamyam sannyasam pala paitrikam devarena sutotpatim kalo pancha vivarjayat. It's right there in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana. The 5 things are forbidden in Kali Yuga, and one of them is sannyas. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he gave sannyas, as previously had Ramanujacharya, and it seems Vishnu Swami also. Otherwise, how, for instance, do you get Sridas, his name Vishnu Swami, and Sridas Swami in his sampradaya? So it seems that they gave sannyas also. So he followed that precedent, but Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, when he was criticized for offering sannyas, he said that this prohibition, that prohibits bogus sannyas, mayavad sannyas. But real sannyas, that is required. And that is the kind of sannyas that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself accepted. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who quoted this verse from Brahma Vaivarta Purana, he himself quoted that when speaking to Chand Kazi, and he himself accepted sannyas. But his sannyas was for becoming Mukunda Preshta, for becoming very dear to Mukunda, for worshipping Mukunda. It was to be a Vaishnava, not to become a Mayavadi. Similarly, some followers presumed themselves to be followers of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. They criticized Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur for establishing mutts, the Gauriya Mutt, and there are so many branches of the Gauriya Mutt. What is it called? Akaraja Mutt. The fountainhead of all of them was Chaitanya Mutt, and then there was Gauriya Mutt. Chaitanya Mutt in Sri Chaitanya Mutt in Mayapur, and Sri Gauriya Mutt in Kolkata, and then all the different branches. They weren't called Gauriya Mutt. They had names like Satchidananda Mutt, and then Sanatan Gauriya Mutt. They were all considered branches of the Gauriya Mutt in Calcutta. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that Bhaktivinoda Thakur had criticized the Babajis who lived in akharas. That was the word he used, not mutt, exactly, akhara, which more or less the same kind of thing. A place where renounced people lived together. So he criticized that because at that time the akharas were being populated by Babajis who were not properly representing Rupa Goswami. Even they had, some of them, openly they kept sevadasis, which means, anyway, it's a long history, and if we have to say so many things, then we'll never finish. I'm getting a bit off track here of what I'm talking about, the Rupa, following Rupa Goswami. So anyway, the Babajis, some of them, they made these akharas. That was especially in Navadvip, not so much in Vrindavan. These buildings, they'd all lived together, and keeping sevadasis means widows, Vaishnavis, widows or women who had been rejected from respectable society for adultery, and who didn't want to become outright prostitutes. Then they could become Vaishnavis and serve Babajis, and the children of such offspring, they became known as the Boshtam caste or subcaste. Or they were considered despicable in Bengali society. So continuing this quote from Srila Prabhupada from the talk in Kolkata in 1972. Just, Srila Prabhupada said, just like there are many Babajis in Vrindavan, they are imitating a small loincloth, but doing all nonsense. So imitation is not required. Real thing is required. How? What is the purpose of Goswami? They say that yena tena prakarena mana Krishne. This is taken from Srimad Bhagavatam and quoted in Rupa Goswami's Bhaktisiddhanta Sindhu. Srila Prabhupada continued, somehow or other, first of all, engage him in Krishna consciousness. That is my Guru Maharaj's gift. He first of all started that there is no need of going to Vrindavan and imitate the Goswamis. No need of going to Vrindavan. Not for the purpose of imitating the Goswamis. Live in big, big cities, in big, big palatial houses. But preach Krishna consciousness. People may understand. Give a chance to the people how they will understand Krishna consciousness. So Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati, he followed Rupa Goswami. He was criticized by the Babajis, not only that you have big house and big car, but you mix with materialistic people. Rupa Goswami has advised against that. You are talking about Varnashram, and you're making people into Brahmins, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Brahmins and sannyasis, who are not from the Brahmin caste, but we're beyond Varnashram. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that Varnashram is an obstacle to pure devotional service. Which verse I don't remember. Avarnashram dharma. I don't remember the verse. You want to look it up? No battery. Okay. But see, even if someone from the Brahmin caste wants to become a Babaji, they have to remove their Brahmin thread. But you're giving Brahmin threads. So they criticized him in this way. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he showed that the essence of following Rupa Goswami, that is tadarte kila cheshta, or as given in, that's from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and rendered in Caitanya-caritamrta as Krishnate akila cheshta. All activities should be simply for Krishna's sake. And although the imitators of Rupa Goswami, they like to study the highly elevated topics that Rupa Goswami has described in books of his, like Ujjvala Nilamani. But Ujjvala Nilamani is really volume 2 of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu of Rupa Goswami, as the title suggests, the topic is Bhakti Rasa. But Rupa Goswami composed another book especially to elaborate on the Madhur Bhakti Rasa, or the topmost, sweetest rasa of the Vraja Bhakti Rasa of Krishna's dealings with the gopis of Vrindavan, because that really is the essence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. So he gave another whole book, the Ujjvala Nilamani, to elaborate on the topics of Madhurja Rasa. However, we should begin at the beginning, and before Srila Rupa Goswami and his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, before he begins to describe the bhakti rasas, he describes what is the nature of pure devotional service. The subject matter of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is based on this principle. The two principles mentioned in this verse of Caitanya-caritamrta, which we just read. Bhaktisiddhanta, and Shuddha Rasa, or Avikrita Rasa. The Bhaktisiddhanta, the conclusions, scriptural conclusions concerning bhakti, devotional service, and the pure, unmixed, uncontaminated rasa of what comes from bhakti. What is the result of bhakti? Worshipping Krishna. From bhakti comes bhakti rasa. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati, Srila Rupa Goswami, first, and all the acharyas, including Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati, they established that the bhakti rasa that can be entered into the pure bhakti rasa. First of all, he established what is Shuddha Bhakti. Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu established what is Shuddha Bhakti. First of all, why should you be interested in Shuddha Bhakti? Because Kleshagni, Shubhada, Moksha, Laghutakrit, Sudurlabha, Sandrananda Visheshatma, Shri Krishna Karshane Chasaha. One should be interested in this because pure devotional service, even at the very beginning, it destroys all material sufferings. It destroys everything negative and bestows everything positive, which is Shubha, everything which is auspicious. It makes the moksha, which is the highest desired goal within the Vedic literature, it makes that seem completely insignificant. Bhakti is so much superior to moksha, or moksha without devotional service. Then pure devotional service situates one in the highest transcendental bliss. And it gives complete satisfaction to the self and attracts even Krishna, whose very name means that he is the attractor of all. So then what is that pure devotional service? What is it? In essence, what is it? That Rupa Goswami, he also states, summarizing all such statements, which he also quotes, as ahaitukiya pratihata, savaipung sangparo dharmo yato bhaktir hokshaje, ahaitukya pratihata yayatma suprasidati, iha yasya hare bhaktir, karmana manasagira, nikilasya vyapyavastasu, jivan mukta sa uchate, sarvo padhivinir muktam tatparatvena nirmalam hrishikena hrishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchate. So summarizing all and distilling the essence of all these verses, which themselves distill all the essence of all the shastras, Rupa Goswami gave the meaning of pure devotional service. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnanakamadyanavritam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktirutama. That's the beginning. When one's gone through all the Vedic processes and transcended even the Vedanta Sutras, which begins with Atato Brahma Jignasa. Now one should inquire into the nature of the Absolute Truth. When one has inquired into that and ascertained or become aware that Krishna is tu Bhagavan Swayam, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then one can become eligible to enter into the field of pure devotional service. But that requires, or is by definition, without any other desire. No desire for enjoying this world, either on the sensual platform or on the mental or intellectual or emotional platform. One should simply cultivate everything in a manner that is pleasing to Krishna. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he went in motor cars, lived in somewhat comfortable buildings. He did this taking another instruction of Rupa Goswami from Bhaktirasamrita Sindhu. Anasaktasya vishayan yataham upayunjataha nirbandha krishna sambandha yuktam vairagya muchyate. If one is actually without any attachment to this material world and is properly situated in seeing everything in relationship to Krishna and doing everything only for the pleasure of Krishna, that is called yukta vairagya, or properly applied detachment. On the other hand, prapanchikataya buddhya harisambandha vastuni mumukshubi parityago falgu vairagya katyate. Rupa Goswami said that those who simply want liberation from this world and therefore reject everything of this world, not seeing the relationship with Krishna of everything in this world, such people, they are practicing falgu vairagya, which means it's not proper detachment. It's detachment, but on the surface level also. Just like the Falgu river. If you go, you'll see there's no river. Where's the river? But if you dig a little bit, just remove the sand a little bit, you'll find there's water is flowing just underground. So this example that one may appear to be very renounced from the world, but with underneath there are so many desires flowing in the heart. So Rupa Goswami, he applied this to impersonalists who are not really detached from this world. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur implied that the Babajis, who appear to be very renounced followers of Rupa Goswami, they, in many cases, are in this category also. They're also in the same category. They have desire for name and fame. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur decried this. Nirjan bhajan, imitating Rupa Goswami by going away on your own, leaving the world. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur had also criticized Golai Tilak, Nakai Tilak, Golai Mala, Shonge Egg Pore Bala. It's somewhat humorous, but it's not really humorous, that you have tilak on your nose and neck beads, tulsi beads on your neck, and who's that with you? Someone else's wife. Shangayeg pare bala. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur also criticized. Interestingly, he did that under a pseudonym. He did that under the pseudonym of Chan Baul. He made Baul songs, criticizing the Bauls. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he came out right, practically a punch in the face, his preaching. So the Babajis, they criticized that, see, you're so attached to all these things, big buildings, big cars. Just the opposite of Rupa Goswami and all the Goswamis of Vrindavan, they were Tyaktva Turnamatsesha Mandalapati Shrining Sada Tuchavat Budva Dina Ganesha Ko Karunaya Ko Pina Kantashrito. They left, they had all these things, and they left it all. Considering the association of high society and opulence, considering it insignificant, they, being merciful to the people in general, they left all this. And simply their possessions were kopin, loincloth, kanta, a patchwork quilt, and not mentioned, but the three kuz, kamandalu, the water pot, and that's all they had. And you're living, you go and meet all these. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decried Vishayinam Yoshitangs cha ha hanta hanta vishabhakshinatopya sadhu. For one who has renounced the world, Niskinchanasya Bhagavad Bhakti what is it? Bhagavad Bhakti Bhagavad Bhakti Unmukhasya Bhajanonmukhasya Parang Parang Jigamesha Bhavasagara. I'm not getting it exactly. Anyway, Bhavasagarasya. So one who has renounced the world, for one to associate with women or with people, materialistic people, is worse than drinking poison. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was associating with big people. He made a point to do so. So it seemed that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, from the Babaji's perspective, it seemed he was making a travesty of following Rupa Goswami. But Rupa Goswami, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he did this for fulfilling the mission of Rupa Goswami, because at that time, Rupa Goswami, who renounced the world for they were the Dina Gana Esha. They were helping the fallen people. The Loka Hit, they were engaged in Loka Hit, studying all the Shastras. Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipuno Sadharma Sangstapako Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manyo Sharanyakara. The six Goswamis studied all the scriptures with the sake of compiling books for the benefit of the whole world. Therefore they are worthy to be taken shelter of. And they're worshipable. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur saw that at the time of Rupa Goswami, to renounce like that was suitable for helping the people of the world. But if he was to do like that, and he could do like that, he actually did that. He was living extremely renounced life, which no Babaji could do. How he was living while he got so fed up with all the Babajis that he resolved just to even though his own guru, Gaura Das Babaji, had told him to preach the topics of the Satchandarbhas, the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as given by Jiva Goswami. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had withdrawn from that, feeling himself incapable, or he wanted to get power to do that. So he was as renounced in his practices as Gaura Das Babaji, although he didn't accept some of the more transcendentally eccentric practices of Srila Gaura Das Babaji. But he made the vow Shatakoti Nama Japa Vrata, to chant 10 billion names. He just went away and chanted all day. That's what he did. In this way, although he wasn't showing off to anyone, but he demonstrated that he could live like Rupa Goswami. He can do it. He did it. He lived totally renounced like that. But then he got a message from the acharyas that just when he was nearing the end, he was also preaching, in as much people would come to him, he would preach to them. He had a few disciples at this time. This is the period approximately 1914 to 17. Bhaktivinoda Thakur departed in 1914, Gaura Das Babaji in 1915, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur on Gaur Purnima in 1918 accepted sannyas, and on the same day established the Sri Caitanya-caritamrta, and the next day after that initiated some of those who were to be his most prominent disciples. So he was just chanting. He could live like that. He didn't need all this opulence for himself. And even before he accepted, before he took to the life of a full-time sadhu, he already had the association of big people. He was the trusted, not the secretary, that was his brother Kamala Prasad, was the secretary to the Raja of Tripura, who was a very big man, very big rich man. Although he was the Raja of Tripura, he most stayed in Calcutta. He had a big palace in Calcutta, and Kamala Prasad was the elder brother of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, was his intimate servant. And just like Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, they were servants, but intimate servants of the Nawab Hussain Shah. So in this way they mixed with all big people, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati also. He took a major post in the secretariat of the Raja of Tripura. So he had an association with big people. He was just, even in his very childhood, Bhaktivinoda Thakur also mixed with the leaders, the very prominent people in Bengal. He was a personal friend of, I can't remember exactly which one, of one of the members of the Tagore family, of among whom nowadays Rabindranath is the most famous. But there were several very accomplished and highly respected and prominent figures, and in that family at that time. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur was close friends with, and so many big people, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So naturally, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, as very close confidant and among the sons of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, naturally he had that kind of association, but he left that to live as a mendicant. But then when he got the inspiration, again, now we have to preach. How are we going to preach? People don't listen to Babajis. They don't take them seriously. On the contrary, they reject that. Who do they listen? If we're going to preach, we want to change the society, we have to start at the top. You could become a spiritual leader in Bengal, set yourself up and get many followers. But mostly, just like the Karta Bhajas, for instance, just some generations earlier, they just come out of, just made something up but they were getting all low-class followers. You could set yourself up as an avatar or something like this, as a sadhu, and get many low-class followers. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wanted to reach the cream of society on the understanding that if we take the cream, then we can reach the others also. But if we get the others, the Itaralok, or as they were known scornfully in Bengal, the Chotolok, the lower class people, then the movers and shakers in society, the people that can really make a difference, they're not going to follow, they're going to go away. So they're not going to be impressed at all. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he set up the Gauriya mission. Note the term mission, which it's an English word, not but that concept of having a mission was first established, a Hindu mission, so to speak, was first established by Vivekananda with the Ramakrishna mission. Ramakrishna, he didn't live in a mutt, he didn't accept sannyas, but Vivekananda did. Vivekananda, seeing that, well, his aim was different. He had an idea that we have to, with the very name mission, he imitated the Christians and introduced into Hindu culture the idea that sadhus should do welfare work. But his mutts, they were not only for doing welfare work, they were also for training people in his nonsense ideas, but quite elaborate nonsense. He also wrote quite a few elaborate books of nonsense, and so he established that. And in the Ramakrishna mission, if you want to be a full-time sadhu, you had to be a degree holder, which was at the time was a very big thing. Not that many people were degree holders. It wasn't that every Tom, Dick and Harry sent their kid to get a degree. Mostly the people going for degrees were from the Kayasta class, which Vivekananda was from, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur was from. Because the Kayastas, their traditional occupation is to be clerks and accountants and to deal with administrative affairs for big people. Now, the big people were now the Englishmen, so it was the Kayastas who mostly took to English education, because that would facilitate what they had to do. And that was the means to upward social mobility. So the Brahmanas, who were the highest in Hindu society, the Brahmanas of Bengal to a large extent got left behind, although we see that they also started to send their children, their sons to be precise, definitely not their daughters, for English education. And we find that among the followers of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, among the sannyasis, highly educated, were Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, who was from Brahmin family, but highly educated by by English education, and Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, who was also highly educated by Western education. But if we see the prominent people who came out of Bengal at that time, they were mostly English medium educated kayastas, such as Vivekananda, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, Aurobindo Ghosh, Bose, Ghosh, Datta, these are all kayasta names. The Tagores, they were Brahmanas, also English educated. But most of the Brahmana caste, they were scattered here and there in the villages, and they didn't have money to, or they were against the whole idea of sending their children for. They came in late. Most of them came in late to the Western style education. They're educated, but educated in Sanskrit and Shastra and all this. So what happened, the Brahmins in Bengal, they all ended up becoming communists because they were left out of the... I'm getting off course here. But they were left out of the high positions in society, so they became leaders of the Communist Party. And this way they misused their intelligence. Anyway, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he wanted to bring Krishna consciousness, following the lead of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he wanted to bring Krishna consciousness to the big people, not the small people, the Bhadralok, they were called. That whole society in Bengal who are well educated in the English medium, and who were movers and shakers in society. Another was that, what's his name, Ghosh, he founded the Amrita Bazar Patrika and wrote the books about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's a friend of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I can't remember his name. Was it Tushar Kanti Ghosh? Was it? No, Tarun Kanti Ghosh was his great-grandson, and he was a big man at the time. He was a home minister, or minister in the Congress government, and he was very much appreciated Srila Prabhupada's work. So his name is famous in Bengal up to the present time. So these were big people, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati wanted to reach them. But they are one of the main things of that the Western education had inspired in the Bhadralok was a deep disgust against Vaishnavism, because they imbibed the Western moral sense that, yes, you see, Jesus was very moral, and our Christianity is very moral. We don't, whereas your Vaishnavism, in all your Hinduism, this Vaishnavism is most disgusting, because this Krishna, it's a sex religion with Krishna dancing with other people's wives. And what do you expect? That the followers of Vaishnavism, they'll be degraded like the Vaishnavas of Bengal. So the Bhadralok, they had a deep distaste or disgust with the Vaishnavas. They didn't think that, well, it's okay. Anyway, in Hinduism you can do any damn thing you like. You can promote non-violence, or you can promote violence also. That's you can. Brahmins, they're non-violent, and but if they're Shakta Brahmanas or followers of the Shakta cult, then they in the temples there's animal killing. If you've seen the Shakta temple in Bengal, they have a spike in the ground with two, not three, two spikes. That's for putting the heads of goats on after they're sacrificed. And then the people come and take the blood from the goat and put it on their head and on their tongue because it's sacred. So you can do anything. But this is immoral. This going with others' wives, obviously. So the people, the Bhadralok, who Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati wanted to reach, they weren't going to come to him if he was living like a Babaji. Even if he was moral, they'd have an immediate distaste for that. And also, the Bhadralok, they had acquired they tend to be materialistic. The Kayastas, they tend to be materialistic. They're dealing with money and finance and power, politics. I'm talking about traditionally. That's described in Caitanya-caritamrta. That when Sanatana Goswami, he withdrew from his service, then the Lobhi Kayastas, the greedy Kayastas, they became more attentive to their duties. Seeing a power vacuum, they were anxious to enter into it for their own personal gain. So the Kayastas tend to be materialistic. That's accepted within their caste, whereas Brahmanas are supposed to be non-materialistic. But the Kayastas is quite accepted to be materialistic. And so if there's big buildings, as Vivekananda, he made big buildings, and the Ramakrishna Mission was highly respected in Bengal by everyone. Vivekananda, highly adulated, even up to the present day, what to speak of at that time. He was the first one to say, I don't know if he actually said it, but his whole motto was, Garv se kaho hum Hindu hai. Say it with pride that we're Hindus. Whereas the British, they were waging an ideological war against Hinduism. Not that we're Hindus, but the Ramakrishna Mission, they say we're not. They want to call. Anyway, let's not talk too much about that. So the British were deliberately trying to instill in especially the people they're educating via the English medium, that Christianity is very good, Hinduism is very bad, and all these silly superstitions and burning widows, and that's not just a superstition, but that is some practice. But many Hindus, they took the education of the British, but they didn't want to become British. And then the Brahma Samaj was started as some kind of compromise between Hinduism and Christianity by Ram Mohan Rai. I believe he was Kayasta also. Not sure. The name Rai you can't tell. Mostly, but you mostly would be, yeah. Then there's Bengal Rai, not South Indian Rai, which it's a title given. It was given by the British. Well, it could, anyway, let's not get too much into all this. So, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he followed the model of the Ramakrishna Mission in having opulence, and he wanted to attract highly educated people, while at the same time having great antipathy to the Ramakrishna mission because of their teachings, which were Bhaktisiddhanta Viruddha. Basically, it came out of the Shakta cult. Ramakrishna was a worshipper of Kali. And it was mixed up with what came to be known as Neo-Vedanta. That means Vivekananda's speculation or promoting the Advaitavad of Shankaracharya, but in his own way, without all the rules and regulations. For instance, meat eating was allowed for the sannyasis of the Ramakrishna mission. Not in South India they don't do, but in North India, in Bengal. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is very much against the Ramakrishna mission. But he adopted their model of big buildings, organized religion. The Vaishnava cult up to that time was not totally disorganized, but loosely organized. There was some organization, but there were different, what may be called the traditional Vaishnavas of Bengal, they were all under different Vangshas and Parivars, the different people who were descendants of followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They would initiate, and not much organization. Those who had many disciples and they couldn't go out and visit them every year. They had appointed adhikaris, they were called. They sent them out to collect the dakshina from their disciples. They didn't go to see them, but they'd collect the dakshina from them. And that was organized. It's a little organization. Otherwise, the different Vangshas and Parivars, they were going on in their own way. They were different, and they were similar and different also. But actually organized with buildings and properties and receipt books, all this kind of thing. Actually, I don't know if they had receipt books. I'm not sure if they did. But that was started by the Ramakrishna Mission. And sannyasis, they introduced sannyas. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also introduced that, knowing that this was required to fulfill the mission of Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, of preaching Krishna consciousness, the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Rupa Goswami, we're called Rupanugas. Why not Chaitanya-nugas? Why not followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he instructed Rupa Goswami with all his so many teachings he gave him, Rupa and Sanatan, which were later compiled into books. The books of Rupa and Sanatan, and later Jiva Goswami followed and completed that work of defining the Gauriya Vaishnava Sampradaya. And actually that was the theological definition was later completed by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in later generation. So Rupa Goswami, he's considered the chief of the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he revealed to the world what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to give. If he hadn't done so, we wouldn't know. So we followed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through Rupa Goswami. All bona fide followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they must follow Rupa Goswami. If they claim themselves to be followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they have to follow Rupa Goswami, who is prayed to Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. It's it's a prayer saying, when will Rupa Goswami give to me the ends of his feet, or give to me his lotus feet? That Rupa Goswami who revealed the inner heart's desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the inner heart's desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that is revealed by Rupa Goswami, but actually that is recorded in writing, particularly in Sri Caitanya-caritamrta. And which was written maybe almost 100 years after the appearance of Chaitanya, quite some time after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his time in this world. At the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, there was also Basu Ghosh, a contemporary. He also described what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, that Baraja Jubate Bhavera Bhakati Shakati Hoitoka. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to, who else but he could reveal the loving feelings of the gopis of Vrindavan, and especially Radhar Mahima, Prema Rasa Shima, the ultimate limit of the unlimited, the loving feelings of Radha for Krishna. So it was given in Rupa Goswami himself, Anarpita Chiring Chirat Kirunyavatirna Kalo Samapayatum Unatojvala Rasang Swabhakti Shriya. They alluded to it in their writings, but that was treated with, explained in Sri Caitanya-caritamrta. So Rupa Goswami, he is the leader of the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he revealed what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission in coming to this world, that is revealing the topmost resplendent rasa of the love of Radha for Krishna, and that Radha, in one sense, is superior to Krishna. This might sound even blasphemous to many Vaishnavas, although of course here in South India also some of the Sri Vaishnavas, they take Sri to be more than Narayan himself. But there is another aspect to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Manobhishta, his inner heart's desire. He also wanted Priti Vite Ache, Joto Nagaradi Gram Sabatrapacha Hoibe Morna. He wanted that his name be preached all over the world. He didn't want the Rupa Goswami's teachings just to be a few Babajis here and there, and some people, mostly low-class people, became disciples of the Goswamis themselves, I'm saying the Goswamis of Bengal who are initiating gurus in the Gauriya Sampradaya. They were Brahmins, they were high caste. But in the Advaita Vangsha, they would only initiate the Brahmanas, Kshatriya, by caste, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas and Shudras. And the Nityananda Vangsha, they initiated lower than that. But they would even though they would initiate these people, but they wouldn't touch them because they're untouchable, those who are lower than that. And they wouldn't take food from them. So they themselves thought that we made them Vaishnavas, but they're still low class. So their initiation in itself was based on a Vaishnava parad practically. If they're actually Vaishnavas, then tasmad deyam tato grahyam. Everything that they give should be accepted. It should not rejected. They're the topmost people. So there were so many discrepancies in the sampradaya, which Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, beginning with Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he came to remove all these aberrations in the name of Rupa Goswami. He saw that the whole sampradaya had become filled with misunderstandings which were actually against the real spirit of Rupa Goswami. So in this way he was the greatest Rupanuga. And also because he wanted to fulfill the heart's desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as Rupa Goswami had revealed the heart's desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna accepting the mood of Radha to understand or to appreciate, to experience the love that Radha feels for Krishna. So in the same way that Rupa Goswami revealed the heart's desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So another desire that all this would spread all over the world, that was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He worked for that, but he saw that to do so, to follow Rupa Goswami in a stereotyped way would not work. He charged the Babajis that you're following the formalities, but because you're not really doing the work of Rupa Goswami, which means spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world, then within your hearts are full of anya abhilasha, of other desires. Our only desire should be to please Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who felt distress upon seeing the Yavanas, the sinful people, and others than humans, jivas in bodies other than humans. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt distress that how will they be delivered? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Haridas, I've introduced the chanting of the holy names, but the Javans, which at that time in Bengal was a synonym, Yavana, Javan, for Muslims, they don't like to chant the holy names. How are they going to be delivered? And Haridas Thakur, he replied, Pashu Paki Kirta Adi Bolite Na Pari Shunile Harinam Tara O Tore. That if they even hear the holy names, those who are in lower species who can't chant the holy names, if they even hear the holy names, they will be delivered. But who is going to deliver the humans and the non-humans all over the world? That work was given in the seed form by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He entered or tried to set up some correspondence with famous thinkers of the Western world. He wrote books in English. In 1896, he sent his English book, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Life and Precepts. In 1896, he sent it to the West and to Western libraries, and a copy was found in McGill University Library somewhere in Canada. 1896, very significant year. That was also the year in which our most worshipable Srila Prabhupada appeared in this world. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he gave that idea, and he foresaw that when will the Russians, the British, the Russians, the Prussians, they'll all come together in this holy land of Nadia and embrace the Bengali brothers, and all together will chant the holy names Jai Sachinandana. They'd all come together. He spoke of a church for the whole world under Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Actually, he wasn't the only one who was speaking about that. There were others also who saw the possibility with the beginning of globalization, the British Empire all over the world, and the French had colonies also, and the Italians had colonies, and the Germans had colonies, and the Dutch had colonies, and the Portuguese had colonies, and the Spanish had colonies. Europe was dominating the world. America started off as a British colony. And they saw the opportunity of reverse proselytization, that the British are going all over the world and spreading their idea. Actually, the British didn't spread their empire all over the world to promote Christianity, but the Christian missionaries followed in their footsteps of the merchants. It was done for mercantile and pecuniary exploitation. But in fact, when the East India Company, they wanted to keep out the missionaries in the beginning. They wanted to keep them out. They didn't want them to disturb the people. We just let them be Hindus and go to hell. What the hell do we care? We want to take their money. Don't come and disturb them with preaching all this Christianity. What if they become Christians and then they don't want to do business with us? So the British and the French and the Spanish and all, they were sending their missionaries here and there. No, they weren't sending. The missionaries came on their own volition. But Vivekananda and others, they saw the possibility of reverse proselytation. They can come here and preach, or we can go there and preach to them. So the Vaishnavas also saw that possibility. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur made very serious moves in that regard. He first of all built up a core of competent preachers. And then he wanted to send them off to the West to preach. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he showed that the prem that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give, in which the followers of Chaitanya, or the so-called followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were very concerned, or they knew that their goal is to attain prema, or they may have thought they already got it, but Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur showed that prema, you have to act for Krishna. Krishnate akila cheshta. Everything must be done for Krishna's pleasure. Be ready to do anything for Krishna, which at the present time that requires for preaching all over the world, one has to do these things. Even one may not be inclined. We can see that the personality of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he wasn't personally inclined to live in opulence, but he accepted that for the sake of preaching. So one should be ready to do anything for Krishna. And he also he threw back at the people who were Bhaktisiddhanta Viruddha. He would say that those who are not following the way he's following, they're Bhaktisiddhanta Viruddha in two ways. One way is because they don't really understand what the teachings of Rupa Goswami is. Another way, they're against him. His name is Bhaktisiddhanta. So if you're against Bhaktisiddhanta, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu won't be pleased with you. That's stated here in Caitanya-caritamrta. Rupa Goswami also stated, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he would throw this back at them. Shruti Smriti Purana Adi Pancharatra Vidhing Vina Aikantiki Hare Bhakti Utpata Yaiva Kalpate. If one may be performing what appears to be devotional service, but if it's against the teachings of the Shastra, then it's not actually following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or following Krishna. It's a disturbance in society. And certainly those who are opposed to Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati, they considered him a disturbance because he was disturbing them and he was taking away their followers, their clientele, the people who would be initiated by them. They would instead, so many would go to him instead, so their income would go down. And he pointed out that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur pointed out that to be a guru, it's not a profession. People take it as a profession. Or to do kirtan, it's not a profession. Just like in Hindu society, you have caste. People by caste, they're bricklayers. Or by caste, they're barbers. Or by caste, they're washermen. Or by caste, they're butchers. Or by caste, they're merchants. Or by caste, there are different kinds of merchants. There's Suvarna Vanik. There's the Tili. Suvarna Vanik, they deal in gold, and the Tilis, they deal in oil. And oil merchants are considered very low. So these are all the different castes. So there are also guru castes, brahmanas, gurus by caste. And kirtan caste also came up. People who, they're kirtaniyas, very expert in performing kirtan. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wanted to show that although there's no bar to someone being a guru, if they're in a guru family, he didn't say they couldn't be gurus, but they should fulfill the more important or the central qualifications of being a guru. That means they should be shabde pare janishnatam, they should be absorbed in the Vedic literature, and they should be fully Krishna conscious. It's not, being a guru is not a matter of collecting disciples who you give blessings to and they support your family. Similarly, Bhagavat part, it's not a matter of giving lectures on the Bhagavatam. Usually those who gave lectures on Bhagavatam, they're mostly from the Goswami caste in Bengal. So some of them did that also. But it's not meant as a means of living. It's not. It became a formality because in Shastra it said, is that in the Bhagavad Mahatmya, the things you should offer to a Brahmana. Things you should offer to a Brahmana, things like umbrellas. And so I saw once in Chennai, they asked me to give a Hindi speech in Paris, which is an area of Chennai with many Marwaris. So there was a Bhagavad Sapta going on. I was asked to go there and give a speech. This is many years ago. And it was the end of the 7 days. So many umbrellas were given to the speaker. Because one of the things you're supposed to give a Brahman. And obviously he couldn't use so many umbrellas. And hardly there's any rain in Chennai anyway. For the sun, actually it's used for the sun more. In which case you should have white umbrellas instead of black umbrellas. But everyone knows that they bought them from the shop and they'll be sold back to the same shop at a lesser rate. Once I went to see this Chandrasekharendran in Tirupati. He was in Tirupati, which means he walked. He walked all the way. I was sent there on a mission which I didn't fulfill. To get a favorable letter from him. But I didn't know how to even... Anyway, that's another story. But outside the place where he was staying, there was someone was selling coconuts. So they brought in and offered to him, and then when there was a pile of them, they'd take them outside, sell them to the same man, and then again, the same ones would get recirculated, which is not supposed to happen. Probably if he knew, he wouldn't allow it. So anyway, it was going on as a formality. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he decried this speaking on the Bhagavatam as a means of getting income. He decried this being a guru just as a family profession. He didn't say they couldn't be gurus, the caste Goswamis, but they should be selfless, that is the point. And others can be gurus also. He's from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, from the external consideration, he's from a Shudra background. Kayastas are Shudras, high-class Shudras, educated, often very powerful and influential. But just if you go in Writers' Building in Bengal, which was the longest building in Bengal until the long building in Mayapur was built, and all caste, of course, that's what they do. And who's cleaning the floor? The people of that caste. You'll see all over India who's taking out all the garbage. It's only from that Bhangi. There's no reservations for that, right? There's no reservation for being a Bhangi. Should be. Nowadays, of course, there's reservations, so it won't be only Kayastas in the Writers' Building. That's the Secretariat of the Government of West Bengal. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, by caste, he was a Shudra, but from the external point of view, but he said, Jai Krishna Tattva Veta Shai Guru Hoy. Who knows the science of Krishna can become a guru. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he established this is the proper way to follow Rupa Goswami. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he is known within the Gauriya Math and its multiple branches, sub-branches and sub-sub-branches, and maybe it's coming to sub-sub-sub-branches now. It means every time an acharya passes away, the new institutions are made, usually the head of their institution. So they refer to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati as Srila Prabhupada. And at the Akur Raja Math, the original Math of all of them in West Bengal, in Mayapur, the Sri Caitanya Math, they have a sign outside. It's written in Bengali and in English, a plaque written in marble, in which is stated that this is the original root of all the preaching of all the centers all over the world, which is true. But they don't give credit to Prabhupada. I was at a meeting once with a grand disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who was old at the time, who's passed away now. This was well after the disappearance of our own Srila Prabhupada, in which he was giving a speech. There were many people gathered around he'd called from all different maths, including from ISKCON. And he gave a whole speech about how Srila Prabhupada has spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. He was referring to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Many times they don't want to give credit to our own Srila Prabhupada. And they seem to think that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is their own. He is of the Gauriya Math, and ISKCON, that's something else. There's some kind of feeling like that. But Jai Bhaje Shai Baro. Whoever is actually doing the work, they should be considered the proper followers. So, just like Bhaktivinoda Thakur's followers, they didn't recognize Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati some of them didn't recognize him when he took sannyas and founded the Gauriya Math. They thought he deviated from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. But actually he was doing the work of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He did what was required to fulfill the mission of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So in the same way, our own Srila Prabhupada, he fulfilled the mission of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He did what was required for doing that. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he's not the property. The Gauriya Math don't have a monopoly on him by any means. And as much as ISKCON is doing what Srila Prabhupada, when I say Srila Prabhupada, I mean, as in ISKCON when we say Srila Prabhupada, we mean our Srila Prabhupada, as we say. If we're doing what he wanted, then we are actually representing Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and all the acharyas up to Rupa Goswami. But the essence must be there of Anyabhilash Shunya or Anyabhilashita Shunya. At least there should be the spirit of wanting to be free from personal desires. Then we can have Yukta Vairagya. Otherwise, if we have big buildings without without being Anyabhilashita Shunya, then we'll have other desires, and then we'll want to use the big buildings for our own comfort, which is what is criticized by the followers of Bhaktivinoda Thakur who criticize Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So unless the spirit of selflessness is there, then very easily everything can degrade. So ISKCON should be or the best or actual representative of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Because the Gauriya Math, they weren't going to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. They didn't have any idea, if we're going to be frank. I'm not in the habit of going around and blaspheming the Gauriya Math, and we have to recognize that they're worshipable also. But the fact is that if our own Srila Prabhupada hadn't gone all over the world without any help from his godbrothers, despite repeated requests, well, there was something, we have to say. Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj did send some things to him. It's not totally without help, but basically he's single-handed. He spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. And the very fact that there are Gauriya Maths all over the world is only because Prabhupada went first and established Krishna consciousness, and then for various reasons many people, they left ISKCON and joined the Gauriya Math. And okay, good. If they're chanting Hare Krishna, good. We shouldn't, or we need not be very critical, because at least those who go, we can say we want them to all stay in ISKCON, but if they feel more shelter and more valid Krishna consciousness or whatever, if they can go on in Krishna consciousness in the Gauriya Math, that's a lot better than going back to being meat eaters and drug takers and all this kind of thing. So it's, anyway, that's another whole discussion. So we can say that we are followers of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in the best way, as much as we have the same spirit of his, which is to follow Rupa Goswami's, non-desirous, without any personal desire, practicing Krishna consciousness and spreading it. But if we don't have that, then we get infected with the same disease in the name of Vaishnavism that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur came to remove. Bhaktisiddhanta viruddha apasiddhanta dvanta hari. Actually, he wasn't only removing the wrong understandings and removing the wrong practices also. So that is the test of whether we are on track or not. Otherwise, our so-called yukta vairagya, it's just a show if there's not a clear, strong spirit of selflessness. Why are you living in this big house? Because we have to serve Krishna. So the serving Krishna shouldn't be an excuse for living comfortably. Even so-called ecstatic kirtan, if it's not on the basis of selfless service to Krishna, then it becomes a show. Just like the kirtan caste in Bengal. Actually, they wouldn't be called the kirtan caste, but the kirtaniyas. They have to make a show, otherwise they won't get the ones who please the crowd most, they're the ones who get called to the most prestigious nama yagyas, and they can command the highest fees, which isn't much actually. They don't get paid much. At least they didn't used to. Maybe they put up their fees since I was living in Bengal. So their ecstatic kirtan, or within ISKCON also, it might seem very ecstatic and, oh, he's such a wonderful kirtan, but that's not samkirtan. In the sense that samkirtan, sam here has two meanings. Everyone together. Bahubhi militva yad kirtanam iti kirtana. Iti sankirtan. Sankirtan means when many people come together. But also samyak kirtan, complete kirtan. That means pure kirtan. So if there's no spirit of we're doing this selflessly only to please Krishna, then it won't please Krishna. And it won't be what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur came to give, or what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted his name preached all over the world, but not this kirtan for money or kirtan for personal name, fame and enjoyment. Not that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement is Vairagya Vidya. Vairagya comes first, so that's based on knowledge. Even making disciples, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur criticized those who are doing without selflessness. And our own Srila Prabhupada, he criticized some of his godbrothers saying, you make disciples in the manner of businessmen. It's like running a business. So in summary, our own Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur are following Rupa Goswami. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is the best Rupa Goswami, best follower of Rupa Goswami, Rupanuga. Inasmuch as we are fulfilling manobhishtam, the desire to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, but not only in sarvatra prachar hoibe moranam, not only in spreading, not only in preaching all over the world, but the spirit must be there of anyabhilashita shunya, cultivating no desire other than to serve Krishna. Hare Krishna. I'll finish there. Our Uma Sudan is waiting for his students. Po. You know what that means, Mukunda? वो तमिल शब्द है जिसका अर्थ है जा, जाओ. Sanskrita shikshan arte. Yeah, you can go. Hare Krishna. You want to ask a question? Finish? Any questions? Okay, let me finish. We can say together the pranam mantras for Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati iti namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Dayataya Kripabdhaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Madhuryo Jvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dina Tarine Rupanuga Viruddha Pasidhanta Dvanta Harne Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vichapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namona. How long? That was 6 days ago, wasn't it? 6 days ago. About Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. About how Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is an ideal Rupanuga, follower of Rupa Goswami, and I was especially emphasizing the point how he denounced the so-called Babajis who called themselves followers of Rupa Goswami by imitation. And Rupanuga Viruddha Apasiddhanta Dvanta Hari. He is the remover of the darkness of ignorance arising from so-called scriptural conclusions which actually are not in line with Rupa Goswami. So I was emphasizing how in this way he's the genuine Rupanuga. But then the most important point is that he's following Rupa Goswami in the sense that Rupa Goswami points to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to Radha Krishna, and the path back to Godhead. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is famous for fighting with all the apasampradayas or misrepresentation of Vaishnavism, but that wasn't his real purpose. Just like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yada paritranaya sadhunam vinashayata dushkritam. His main purpose is not to kill the demons, but to uplift the devotees. But for the sake of protecting the devotees and uplifting them, it's also required to kill the demons. Otherwise, killing the demons, Maya can do that. She already does that. She's smiling very nicely, but she has 10 hands and everyone's got a nice weapon for killing all the demons. So in the same way, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, his following Rupa Goswami is in the same way. Rupa Goswami, he came to do the same thing that Rupa Goswami did, which is to bless us. Anarpita chiring chirat karunyavatirnau kalau samapiyatum udato chavalarasam swabhakti shriyam hari purita sundara duti ganamba sandipita sada hridaya kandare spuritu va shachinandanaha. So this is the blessing given by Rupa Goswami that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared as the son of Sachi Devi and brought the highest mellow of resplendent love, devotional service to himself. He brought that after a very long time, since the last day of Brahma. It was lost, it wasn't known. He came and he brought that, so may that Shachinandana be manifest within the core of your heart. So that's Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur came to give. Same thing. So that should be understood. We shouldn't think that his main glory is stating what is wrong, but his main glory is stating what is right. And therefore he gave us Caitanya-caritamrta commentary, Bhagavatam commentary, Chaitanya Bhagavat commentary, this Upadeshamrita commentary, so many lectures, so much writing, all to point us on the path back to Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Manjari, Shri Mora Sampada, that is the real wealth of the Rupanuga Vaishnava. Sri Rupa Manjari is the Rupa Goswami, and in her Gopi form, she is the foremost servant of Lalita, who is the foremost servant of Sri Radha, who is the foremost servant of Krishna. So in this way we are Das Anudas Anudas Anudas. Hare Krishna.